Hey everybody, it's Katrina from the Alluring Bead Boutique, and I am back. And we are going to continue on with another tutorial using flat netting stitch. And today I'm going to show you how to do a picot for the turn. In the first video, I reviewed vertical and flat horizontal netting. We talked about varying the number of beads, such as 3 bead netting, 5 bead netting, etc. And today I'm going to show, and then in the second video I showed you guys how to do a point at the turnaround. So this is all part of my Bead Weaving 101 series over on the AlluringBeadBoutique.com, which is part of the Jeweler's Life blog. I've been working through the basic stitches from the 2019 Bead and Button Bead Stitching Handbook. And over there, you're going to find a lot of information. I cover peyote stitch already, and this is part of the one I'm working on for netting. So we're going to be using 5 bead netting, basically just doing some vertical netting stitch. I've started out the same way I did in the last video, where I picked up my 7 sets of 3 beads, which actually works out to where you have 3 full segments of your 5 beads, which is 2 11-ohs, a crossover, 2 11-ohs. You start with a crossover bead. I have 3 full sets and half of another one, and I ended with a crossover bead. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 sets of 3 beads plus the crossover. And just check back with the other videos if you get a little bit confused. And according to the Bead Stitch Handbook, in order to do the picot turn, you start by doing a regular turnaround. So here we're sitting here. I have picked up my my turn beads, which are a full segment, 2 11-ohs, a crossover, 2 11-ohs, and then the half segment, which I dropped one, which is 1 more crossover bead and 2 more 11-ohs. We are going to skip this last crossover bead here at the bottom of our initial pickup, and we're going to go through the next crossover bead and pull our turnaround beads into position, just like we've done in the previous 2 videos. And then we're going to stitch all the way up to here, picking up our 5 bead segment, which is 2 11-ohs, a crossover bead, and 2 11-ohs. We're going to skip 1 rondelle and sew through the next. Or skip 1 crossover bead and sew through the next, pulling our beads in to create this beautiful netting stitch. We're going to do that a couple more times till we get to the opposite end of our bead work. So there's my 5 beads. I'm skipping 1 crossover and going through the next. And now I have one last one to pick up, one last 5 bead segment. So 2 11-ohs, my little crossover rondelle, and 2 more 11-ohs, skipping this next crossover bead and sewing up through this last one here at the top. And now we're going to learn how to do the picot turn. So in order to accomplish this picot at the top, what we're going to start out by doing, we're exiting this rondelle. So we're going to pick up 2 C beads in a rondelle. Then we're going to pick up 3 more 11-oh C beads. We're going to let all of that drop down. We are going to skip those 3 11-ohs and come back through a rondelle, just like we did when we were creating a point. Now when we pull this into position, we're going to make sure that we have this cute little picot sitting on top of our rondelle like that, a little 3 bead picot. It's really cute. And then we will go ahead and pick up a full segment, just like we did when we were creating a point. We'll pick up 2 11-ohs, rondelle, and 2 11-ohs. We are going to stitch through the first rondelle sticking out right there on our previous row and pull. So now we have created a little 3 bead picot at the top. I'm just going to flip my work And I'm going to just continue sewing up using my 5 beads segments once again. I'll show you the turn one more time. So we're going to skip the indented rondelle or crossover bead and sew through the sticking out. Pick up another segment, skip the indented, sew through the one sticking out. And one more time. Picking up the 5 bead sequence, skip the indented rondelle right here, and we're going to sew through this one, and it's sticking out. Now I'll show you the picot turn one more time. We'll start by picking up 2 11-ohs and a rondelle. And then we're going to pick up the picot beads, which are the 3 little 11-ohs. And you can use 15-ohs or a different color, whatever, for your own design elements. I am going to skip over those last 3 that I picked up and just sew back down through only my rondelle. Ooh, I have a little trouble seeing my bead hole there. Okay, now, before I continue, I want to make sure that my beads are snugged into position up against the beadwork here, and that my little picot beads look nice and not all cockeyed and weird looking. They sit like this, 2 at the bottom and 1 positioned in the middle above, just like that. And then you would just carry on with your 5 bead sequence. Picking up 2 11s, the crossover, and 2 more 11s. You get one on your needle. And let me flip this around. So I am going to skip this first one and sew through the one that's sticking out right there. And pull. And now I have the picot edge on this one. Once again, I'm really not completely crazy about how they recommend starting with that first initial turnaround. It just looks really odd compared to the picot ones. All right, so I tried taking it apart, but obviously I had crossed over somehow and I had to take it all apart. But I think I figured out how to start it off differently. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start with exactly the same way I've been starting with 7 sets of my 3 beads plus 1 last crossover bead. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the last crossover bead. Exactly the same way we've started every other time. Now I'm going to pick up 2 seed beads, a crossover bead, and my 3 11-ohs for the picot. I'm going to skip those 3 11-ohs and come right back down through just my rondelle. Just like we did in just a few minutes ago. Now I'm going to pick up my sequence, and hopefully this comes out right, but if it doesn't, I can take off my tail thread and fix it. So now I'm going to pick up one of my 5 bead sequences. I am going to skip this rondelle and sew through the next. I'm going to go ahead and flip my work because I like sewing upwards. I'm skipping one and sewing through the next. We'll see if it pans out. Now I'm going to pick up another one of our 5 bead sequences and just sew up just like we normally would. Skipping 1 crossover bead and sewing through the next. We will see where we end up. Picking up my next 5 bead sequence. Skipping 1 rondelle, sewing through the next. Now, obviously, if you are designing a project, you might have to rethink this a little bit. So here we are, and we have 1 full segment left, so it did work out the way I thought it would. And I'm going to pick up that last sequence, of my 211-0s, my crossover bead, and my 211-0s. I'm going to skip that rondelle and sew through the next. Yeah, pull that through. And now we're going to do the same thing we did previously, which is we're going to pick up 2 11-0s, the rondelle, and 3 11-0s to do our turn. And this way, everything looks the same. And I much prefer things to work out like that. So here we go. We're going to skip those last 3 11-0s and sew back down through just the rondelle to create the little picot at the top. Then we are going to be stitching into the first sticking out rondelle here, so we need to pick up the full 5 bead sequence. And I like that much better. And that was not in the bead and button handbook. That is what I just sat here and figured out. So now I'm coming out of this rondelle. I'm going to skip that little indented one there, and I'm going to sew through the first one sticking out, just like we've been doing. And now, as I sew along, everything is going to look the same. So let's go ahead and do a few more turns just to see what we have. I'll have to sew up to the top, so I'm picking up my 5 bead sequence, sewing through the next sticking out rondelle. Guys should be pretty good at that by now, because we've been doing it a lot lately. Let's see if I can get my beads scooted over a little bit closer to my work area. I'm going to skip that indented and sew through the sticking out. One more to go till I reach the top and reach my turnaround. I got my beads on, skipping this indented one and sewing through that sticking out bead. And I like the way that works out a lot better. I just think it looks so much more neat than having that loop of beads right here from the turnaround, which is very sharp contrast to these picots and the points we did in the previous video. So I think I'm going to stick with that, and I love it when I figure out something like that and I make a video or a pattern, because then I have it for life ingrained in my head, or I can find it really easily. So now I'm ready to do this turnaround. So I picked up my 2 11-0s, my rondelle, and then the 3 extra 11-0s. Drop them down, skip the last 3, and then just come back through. Only the rondelle. Make sure your picot forms properly at the top of the rondelle. And you can flip your work if you want, which I prefer to. And then we're just going to pick up our next 5 bead sequence and work our way back down. And that's pretty much all there is. And I really like that a lot better. So then I would just sew through the next sticking out bead right there. And continue on. And I just like the look of that much better than having that loop of turnaround beads. Alright guys, so that is it for today. We have covered a lot of bases in working with flat horizontal netting. You could use these, the picot or the pointed tip turnaround for 3 bead, 5 bead, 7 bead, any of the ones, vertical or horizontal netting. They're just great little tips, fun to know. Create some beautiful different styled edges to a netted project. Alright, so basically that's it. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Head on over to the AlluringBeadBoutique.com and check out the A Jeweler's Life blog. There is a lot of great content there this year. I'm so proud of how that my business has really come a long way this year. If you're interested in starting your own jewelry business or your own blog, there's articles over there, step by step, walk you through. I am an affiliate of several of these different website development companies, and it does help me if you decide to do that. If you use my links, that helps to support all the free content you get on the blog and on YouTube. All right, folks, that's it. Have a great day.